Hi, I'm Beverly Barr, and I'm one of the folk dancers. I'm from Los Angeles. And just a little background, I met Flora and Karen and Lisa and Steve all at the same time at San Diego Folk Dance Camp back in the mid-70s. Steve saying yes at the right time. And we kind of just became friends. Like, I don't know how, but there was a closeness there right away. And during that first week at camp, Flora and Steve decided that they were going to have a Friday night service. And that had never been done at camp before. And they were out rounding up people to come to the Friday night service. And so we helped them, and we went to the service, and it was very nice. We enjoyed it. And lots of other things went on during the week. By the end of the week, I just see, there are the Corns who were there. They're former folk dancers, but still good friends. And they were there that same year. And we all went to the service, and by the end of the week, we were all like really, really close friends. Over the years, we did a lot of things together. We came out to Santa Barbara very often over holidays, stayed with or just visited with Harold and Flora. We celebrated holidays with them. They traveled with us and so on. So the family, the Codman family, have been just part of our lives. The last time I saw Flora was about 2 years ago when Erwin and I were both up in Oregon. And we visited them and stayed with them. And we were actually up in Oregon. We were in Newport, Oregon, but twice during the week that we were there, we drove back and forth to Eugene to see Flora dance with her and to visit with Harold. And that was the last time that I saw her. And that's a little bit of background, but after she died, and there was a tribute to her done in the folk dancing, which is what I'm holding in my hand. And I wrote a poem about Flora. I just kept thinking about her, and I do like to write poetry. So I wrote a poem about her, and I'd like to share my poem with you. And the title is Flora, Dear Flora. Flora, dear Flora, what a sweetheart. You got under our skin from the very start. You were a pleasure to know. I will remember you dancing fast and slow. We shared laughter and many good times together. Camps in San Diego, Santa Barbara, Hess Kramer made life so much better. Holidays and celebrations, we did them all. Dancing and traveling, we had a ball. You made folk dancing happen in Santa Barbara. Without you, it would have been much harder. Flora will Flora will be missed, her sweet smile and cute wit, remembering the joy of her beautiful dancing and friendship more than just a bit. Flora will be missed by family and friends who were closest. Her sincere, warm greeting and smile will be remembered the most. Flora, we will have so many memories, but you will be remembered most for being you. With love, from Beverly Barr. Thank you.
Anybody else?
I came to Santa Barbara in 1957, and I don't exactly remember where I met Flora, but my parents would travel and they wouldn't be here, and I didn't have much family here. And Flora took me in as part of the family. how many times I met and visited her mother Gertrude and her father Jay. I was part of the family, I was part of the camps and the dancing and on and on and on. I remember very well the day that Karen was going to meet Todd. We were in Laguna Beach and it was raining cats and dogs, and we were in a restaurant and eating, and Karen disappeared, and somehow we knew she went to meet Todd somewhere. She came back and the bowl of soup was gone. But that was just one of the times that we had together. I miss her every time, almost every day, and I see her dancing. We are still dancing, and I see her at the head of the line dancing. I'm dancing with her all the time.
So one of my memories of Flora was driving back from Mendocino camp, probably in the 80s sometime. I had an old Dodge Dart, and it wasn't running very well. It needed to tune up. It was making all kinds of funny noises. And if you've ever been to Mendocino camp, it's very exhausting, and you're dead tired when you're done. So to keep me awake and to keep things interesting, she picked a fight with me on the way back from camp. I don't even remember what we fought about. It probably started with the car not working right, and I was being too stubborn to stop. But sure enough, 10 hours later, we arrived back in Santa Barbara. The car was intact, and our friendship was intact. But that was one of my good memories of her. So, I'll let you hand out here.
I had to come to this today because I'm a former folk dancer, starting in the early 60s, and that with the encouragement of Al Analik. And that's when I got to know Flora in this very auditorium here. And every time I saw that face, that smile, that hair, it reminded me of a girl in high school that I thought very much of. But anyway, I continued to folk dance with Flora, and I learned a lot of beautiful Israeli dances. One in particular, I wish I could remember the name of, a very slow dance, and I'm sure Lisa and Karen can tell me all about it. But Flora wanted to have a group of her own, and I, along with Shirley Forrest, I don't know whether Shirley's here today, but Flora actually sewed the costumes that the men would wear and the dresses the ladies would wear. There may be some people here that remember this, I don't know. But anyway, the group was called Nichibo. And I had the honor of being able to draw the outline of the county of Santa Barbara and copy, plagiarize dancers and Greek dancers dancing, which was superimposed on the county outline. And we made that as a badge for all Nichibo dancers and anyone who became a member of the group. But I'm so happy that I was able to come here today. And along with Lisa and Karen, I remember them when the last time I saw them, they were this high. In fact, I brought some pictures and gave them to Lisa and Karen of one of the very first dances that I participated in with Flora outside of this complex. It was at the Timbers Restaurant. And there were other times when we danced, and fortunately we were dancing in the costumes that Flora so carefully made. But that's what I wanted to say. And she always had a beautiful smile. She was always friendly, outgoing, no matter what. I really admired her very much. Thank you. My name is Charles King.
So I'm just going to pass the microphone, to make it a little faster, I'm just going to pass the microphone. And if you don't want to say anything, don't feel obliged, you just pass it on to the next person. And don't bother coming up to the stage, just stay where you're at.
I'm Niels Gjernes, my wife Beatrice. Vi är sårbara folkdans och sure we can expect Flora too. The dignity in her personality gives us a lot of joy and life, much to learn. And you said,
I'm Deborah Sprecher. It's very hard for me to accept, to believe that Flora Codman is not with us anymore. For me, she was the symbol of life and joy, and I will always remember her like that. She made everybody dance. When I joined the group, I think I met Flora probably still in Hillel, and then I followed her here through Ronit, and it brought me back memories of my own childhood because I was a folk dancer in Israel, and all of a sudden I could dance again. To me, Flora will always be alive, and I'm sure for her family, the smile, the goodness, and making everybody so happy. Thank you.
I'm Evelyn Lewin, and I'm one of the grandmothers. And I didn't have the good fortune to be a folk dancer or live in Santa Barbara, more east of Los Angeles. In the meantime, my son had the good fortune to marry Karen. So that was how I got to know the whole family. And I fell in love with not only Flora, but Gertrude, and I think was it your Aunt Rose? Sarah, pardon me, it's a long time. So it was fun knowing Flora because we would always, many times she stayed with me when she come to visit our area. And a lot of times I would come out with Todd and Karen, and I'd stay perhaps with Ronit now, which was very lovely. But I enjoyed so much knowing Flora because she was so, I thought maybe if I was, was good, I'm close to her, I'm a little bit more introverted in a way, and I thought maybe I'd catch some of her effervescence, and so I appreciated the way she got on with everybody. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tim Pettit. A bunch of us are still dancing here who started out with Flora Codman. I met her about 12 years ago, and I'm still dancing. I was sort of a victim of her warmth and generosity, and she, like we still do today, I happened by and she invited me in to try dancing. And I did, and we were really blessed to have her for a few years there. And then she moved to Oregon, and it's great to be here and hear about more of her life. But our dance group that she started still carries on here, and she was a wonderful part of my life.
Hi, she's my grandmother, and I think one of my best memories of her was when she dragged me into the Nutcracker. She convinced me to go in with the bribe of food, and her warmth in her voice and the smile I can't forget. And I remember very little, but as the family comes down here, they remind me more and more. Apparently I rode on her dog Loco, and It's a shame I didn't get to know her as well, or remember any of the memories I had with her, but the Nutcracker was definitely one of the memories I can keep.
As I've been thinking about Flora so much lately, I just came home, I couldn't believe how many things and how many memories I had, so I'll be real brief. I'm Jerry Mulder, and with my former husband, Mark Hamilton, we started folk dancing about 41 years ago. I know because my daughter, who's now 43, was 2 at the time, and she used to come with us, like you said, it's cheaper than a babysitter. And she would sleep on me right next to the phonograph, I guess it was a tape recorder back then, in her little Winnie the Pooh sleeping bag, and we would dance, and it was just wonderful. And that was the beginning of our connections, which grew much deeper. I remember Harold's wonderful fish soup and playing lots of bridge with Steve and Harold and Flora and John and all kinds of people, and going off to Hess Kramer. One of Flora's things is she was, most of you know, very fastidious and a neat and clean person. And so when we would go to camp, she would bring rugs to put on the campground floor because it was cleaner than stepping out of the shower onto the whatever was there. But folk dancing really was a real important integral part of that part of my life, and Flora and Harold were so much a part of it too. Later, my daughter went on to college and took a folk dance class, and she says, "Mom, I remembered all the music."
Hi, I'm Mark Hamilton, and I thought I'd just mention another part of their life. It does have to do with folk dancing. But Sally and I lived in Japan, in Tobar, sister city, for a year. And Harold and Flora came to visit us. And they came to visit us with part of the express reason of our being able to share some folk dancing with the people in this small city of about 25,000 people at that time. Very few of whom spoke English. And they were surprised we even got some people together. We ended up getting about 60 or 70 people in a room similar to this, where Harold could play the music, as all of you know, he always did, and made sure it was on time and ready to go. And Flora got out and began teaching Central European folk dancing, I think, and where she couldn't speak Japanese. Very few people there could speak any English. But it does speak to her talent as a teacher, which meant she very seldom had to explain much. She could show you and demonstrate and lead you along so that you very quickly pick this up. And so, you know, I just want to share that little sort of adventuresome part that she and Harold had to just go out into the world with a bunch of people that couldn't speak English and put them together and have them end up at the end of the evening having done, I don't know, 7, 8, 9, 10 different dances from Central Europe. This is in a very small outskirts of the area in Japan.
Hi, my name is Julie McLeod, and I'm here with a dual representation, not just for myself, because I've known Flora and Harold for many, many years, but it's for my mother and father, both of whom passed away. They were... Did I push a switch? There we go. Are we back again? No.
1.
2. Both of them have passed away, and they taught folk dance in Los Angeles for many, many years, and had a group called the West Hollywood Peasants. It was actually the Hollywood Peasants. They taught at the West Hollywood Community Center, I believe, on San Vicente. And if I'm not mistaken, Harold, please correct me, they took their first folk dance classes with my mother and dad. And my father was the president, 2 years in a row of the Southern California Federation of Folk Dancers. And they performed all over. And they were very close to Flora and Harold. And my background is dance, and my background is mostly theater dance. I was in the original West Side Story, Martha Graham, Rosalie Bump, all kinds of things in the East Coast, and Broadway, off-Broadway, but they were my folk dance connection. And it's in my heart, and I've done a lot of folk dance because of them. So there we are. My greatest wishes to Harold and for all of us to keep going and dance, dance, dance. Doesn't matter what kind. Even if you're just brushing your teeth, it's a dance.
Anybody else? Yes.
Hi, my name is Deborah Hirsch, and I'd like to say that I met Flora through Hillel. I was her secretary, and I was one of the many people who went through Hillel and knew Flora for the 4 years I was at UCSB. That would be the end of the story, except Karen married my cousin. So I was blessed to be able to stay in contact with Flora, and with all due respect to my mother who is sitting here, when people came to Hillel, they thought I was one of her daughters. Karen and Lisa, for some reason, never came back to visit on the same weekend. Everybody knew that Flora and Harold had 2 daughters. They assumed I was the other one. When Lisa was there, I was obviously the other one. When Karen was there, I was obviously the other one. And I just called her Mom. So, thank you, Mom, for letting me call her Mom. And the relationship sort of went on from there, and Karen married my cousin. And my cousin, bless his heart, told his son, who's still paying for dinner, to take me out, or to get together with me, I should say, in Las Vegas, where I was visiting my mother. And he said something, and I said, And I introduced him to Allie, and Flora seemed to appreciate that. So that's Asher and Allie. And so my connection with her started very innocently as her secretary in Hillel.
And I'm Deborah's cousin. I'm also Karen's husband. And from that perspective, I think we have a different view of Flora than a lot of you here. You see, it seems that I was the one who was taking away her favorite playmate at the time we got married. And so this led to maybe a little more attention than the rest of you felt with Flora. You know, we're all in a nice situation set up here where you've got evil mother-in-law on one side or good-for-nothing son-in-law on the other, depending which side you're looking at it. But Flora was such an amazing person, and I was pleased over the years, especially to see how she interacted with my sons. And she was a wonderful woman, and I just wanted to let you all know that even if there is tension, the beauty in Flora as a person just overcomes everything. And I'm very pleased to see you all here today.
It's very obvious that Flora was a force of nature, because who could have gathered this many people together on this wonderful day and have all these great feelings about this woman. It's just revealing and wonderful, and but I'm not surprised, because when I met her, she just enveloped me with her charm, enthusiasm, and even though I wasn't a very good folk dancer. So it's an honor to be here, and I know really how touched all of you are, because she was a very special person. No doubt about that.
Okay. I don't know if I see my hand over there. Okay, I'm coming over.
Well, if you all hadn't aged and I stayed so young, I would recognize all of you I know. And I just was making more connections today at UU about who was with whom back in the 60s and the 70s, and I find it so amazing that there's these 6 degrees of separation among so many of us in the folk dance world. I danced with Harold and with Flo in the late 60s and 70s. I wasn't in folk dancing very long, but it had the most impact of anything in my life. I would work all day, and I would come home at 6, and I would be so exhausted I didn't think I could stand up. And then I would just say, but I'm going to folk dancing. And it would be 2 minutes on the floor, and all those scares would fall away, and Flo would lead us in line dancing or sometimes couple dancing. But I remember her saying to me, I'm Jean Olson, in case you don't recognize me, because I did age. She would say to me, Jean, if you could just not be quite so enthusiastic until you learn the steps. So I learned where to dance. I danced behind the line, behind Flo, for at least the first month or 2 that I danced, or maybe a little longer, because I discovered that was the way that you really learn. What I loved about Flo was her joy, her exactness to the step, and that really saved me, because I had to count my steps. I didn't hear the music. I had to count my steps. And all of this training came in so many ways through my life. But as I look back on my life and think, where do I want to be when I really want to be having fun and feel that joy, that whatever it is that's happening when you're dancing, all those endorphins getting going, that's where I want to be, on the dance floor. So Harold and Lisa and Karen, your mother taught us well.
Okay, I need more hands out here.
Hello, my name is Desiree Fidelli. I'm here with my husband Michael from Palo Alto. Flora is my great aunt. My second cousins are the wonderful Oren and Asher and Alan. Flora is a really special woman. I'm so happy that I got to know her. She really inspired many people to be better individuals and to always grow and to love one another. And the thing that I've really been thinking about during the ceremony actually is there's this Yiddish word called yichus, which is your family lineage. And yichus goes both up and down, so the generations before you and the generations to come. And it really makes me happy to know that she has such strong yichus in her family. Karen and Lisa are so special. And they really inspired me in many great ways to become the person that I am today. And when I was struggling in college, and I was going through different things, Karen in particular was really there for me. And her wonderful sons, Oren and Asher, are such phenomenal boys, and they really deserve the world. And they really took my husband and Michael, and they were always very kind to him and loved him, and we're very appreciative for all the support that they always provided for us. And I think today we should go away thinking about this. In Judaism, we're taught it's once the neshama leaves our body and it goes to Shemayim, it's really gone from this earth, and it's really what the individuals you leave behind, what they instill on each other, what they remember about you, and what all the good things, good or bad, that you've done. So that's why we should be really considerate of our actions and what we're doing to each other, because everyone has a long memory, and that's what we should remember. But I'm so glad that Flora is such a wonderful person, and we all have these memories together, and we should really aspire to be more like her. And that is what I want to say, so thank you.
Hi, I'm Asher. I'm the other brother, Karen's son. I just wanted to share a little selfish, not so much a story, just more of a feeling with my grandmother. Bubby. My favorite times as a child, pretty close to the most fun I would ever have, was being able to fall asleep in the car on the 2.5-hour drive north out here. And I would just fall asleep, and my body would feel the turns that the car took as it got off the freeway, and I would wake up and I'd be groggy and bleary-eyed, looking out, and oh, there's the house with that gold door on it. Any of you who've been there, you'll remember that door. That door had character. 309 New Bridge Drive. And
967-999.
that's right. I remember that too. Wow. No. 309. That's my wife giving me trouble as always. And I just remember hopping out of the car, carrying my little tote bag, and running up the porch, standing under the window that led to the kitchen, and I'd hear the clinking of the dishes in there. I'd knock. I was too short. I couldn't see into the window, but I'd knock on the door, and I'd just stand there staring at this gold-ridged door. I swear that's like iconic in my mind. My Bubby, and it would always just ease open, and there she was. That smile that you see up there does no justice to the smile that I saw every time I arrived there. And I love her so much, and I will miss her greatly. And yeah, that's it.
Okay, we're going to stop here just in terms of time. It's almost 3 o'clock. I want to thank everybody for their words, their comments. There might be more people who would like to say, but Harold and Lisa and Karen will be here to share your thoughts. I'd like to ask everyone to sure. Yeah, feel free to find us in the video later. So it's time to have a bite to eat, and we're also going to do something people hate. We're going to put the music on while you're eating. So we got a lot. Quick story. I was asking some of the family members last night to give me some of Flora's favorite dances so we could play them. And this morning I put the dance list together, and there were over 6 hours of dances. You know, she loved dancing. We're not going to cram 6 hours into an hour, but I'm going to play some music at random. If you like to dance, you can dance. If not, you can eat at the same time. I'd like to ask everybody, as you stand up, please move your chair to the outside so we'll clear the stage for dancing. Thank you.